Guys, how are you doing? I'm done recording the other video and I feel I still have the energy to record another video, so I'm going to talk about my dad. Welcome. I'm going to talk about my dad, how his death took a toll on us, how we overcame it, and the oppressors. So I'm not going to mention names because my uncle will beat me. Okay guys, so dad passed on 11th June 2010 when my twin and I were in class 8. And yeah, so it happened so fast because he was ill like in less than a week. Yeah, and less than a week because he called mom. He isn't feeling well. Mom traveled to go see what the husband is ailing from. Yeah, yes. So upon reaching, dad said, take me to the nearest hospital. He was seeing death already. So mom obeyed and they took him to the nearest hospital. On Saturday, which was to be our visiting day, mom didn't show up, dad didn't show up because either of them was coming. Dad who could have traveled from Uganda to Kenya for our visiting day. But nobody showed up, nobody talked anything. So here comes Sunday and I see my aunt with the husband. Then I'm like, okay, who sent you? Because mom never sends any relative to our school. The school activities are always hers. And we were shocked. We said that, oh, mom is busy, blah, blah, blah. Even herself didn't tell us anything. And so dad requested to see us on a Wednesday and we went. Yes, we went to see our father on Wednesday and I couldn't take it because I love my father so much, and seeing the man I love go through so much pain in hospital, I wasn't taking it. Like right now I'm about to lose it because God please, I wasn't taking it seeing my father lying in that bed helpless. I call it helpless because I couldn't believe he was my father, and I didn't want to talk to him from a distance. I just tried. I'm like, let me just hug you. We talk and talk. So we talked. Dad promised us so many things, that I'm going to be well, I'm going to see you graduate, I'm going to take you to beautiful universities in town. He promised us so much, and I took his words to the bank and I was like, okay, he's going to be okay. We are going to have him back on his feet. Okay, in our school we do exams, like we were doing exams like every week. Yeah, so it happened on Friday. We were doing an English paper at around noon and dad had passed on. Who was called? The head mistress was called by my mom and she wanted to confirm if it was the truth, and yeah, it was the truth. So since she doesn't know how to break the message, she came shouting my sister's name and my name, and we were told to go to her office and we went. By this time I wasn't even thinking because I didn't know what she was calling us for because we were doing her paper. We just went. Upon arriving at her office, she started praying. Our Father, you are the one who takes, you are the one who gives. Oh my God, I couldn't take it. I couldn't take it. No one was taking it. My sister wasn't taking it. I wasn't taking it. And we broke into tears. Yeah, we broke into tears. We cried running to our dormitory. Reaching in the dormitory, my brother, our elder brother, was already at the gate waiting for us to go. That's the first time I was speechless in life. That's the first time I really thought God didn't love us. That was the first time I cursed because I couldn't have imagined life without my father. I couldn't have imagined he is going down and leaving us here. And we went home, but wow, from the mortuary I insisted because I know when we go home we'll see him, then after like a few days he will be laid to rest. So when we were on that vehicle, I told people I want to sit where my dad is, and they were like, you can't. I was like, I want to. So my dad alikuwa hivi kwa gari, kuna viti, so I decided I want to see him because I knew it's going to take forever and I won't see him again. So I was touching him. The body was so cold. I couldn't take it, and wow. So it happened. My dad stayed 1 week at our home. Yes. And we buried him. People promised so many things, and yeah, when people left, the reality checked in. It hit us that we have remained on our own, and like we have to do something, because when people are with you when you are mourning, you don't feel the vacuum. But when people leave, it's when you feel the vacuum and you feel the gap that has been left behind. So after that, my uncles behaved for some good time. And remember, I was going to do my exams. We were in class 8. This is June. Candidates preparing. We went back to school and we were doing terrible. Like, we were doing terrible. Like me, when I was in that school, I had never like below 300 mark. But after Dad's death, wow. I remember even I went, ushayona, you are on top and you just go back like that. Yeah, that's how bad it was. And the headmistress called us one day and told us, you are not doing your best. This is not the mercy and faith I know. You have really gone down in your studies, and I know your dad's death is affecting you so much. And there are so many people I have taken to high school, and I'll do the same for you people if you pass. We were like, okay. We didn't even sign for this contract for his death, and here we are. Let's do us. So we decided to like go back to where we were because it wasn't easy. And yeah, we just decided because we have no otherwise. So after finishing primary school, we went back home, and life was tough because before dad died, he had used a lot of money in the company he was working for, because one person had gotten an accident. So, and he was the supervisor, so the bill was on him. And mom said he died, but like there is the financial status has really gone down. We understood, my sister and I understood, because my brother, our second one, was in Form 3, I guess. Yes, we were, was he in Form 3 or in Form 4? I don't know, because when we joined Form 1, he was in Form 4. Yeah, he was in Form 3, and yeah. So here's the thing. When we were preparing to join Form 1, remember my sister and I were called in the same school. Mom had no money. Like, we had no money. And because my mom was struggling to pay for my brother who was in Form 4 in boarding school, and he was also meant to struggle to look for other means to pay for our school fees to join Form 1. Joining Form 1 to people is not a walk in the park. It is hectic, it is heavy. But since we were in boarding school in primary, it wasn't that hectic because we could have we were going to use most of the things we had in primary, in that boarding school to high school. And I remember mom started becoming thin, because when we are in school, there was this uncle who made sure like my mom had no peace from Monday to Monday. The insults she got from them, the pain was just too much for that woman. And it happened when we closed school. So I wanted to see how things are being run in that home, and I didn't like it because my uncle's wife and the kids were on our case. Actually, not not on a positive way, but on a negative way. They could abuse us. They could tell us so many things that we knew nothing about. And the mission of my uncle was to see my mom leave her matrimonial home to go back to their home. And my mom wasn't taking that she wasn't taking that to the bank, because she knew when she leaves, her 5 kids will suffer, because she was the father and she was the mother at the same time. So mom fought in prayers, and she could even hide in somebody's garden, go pray about it, and she could cry from I don't know what time to what time, and it was difficult. So I one day told my uncle, I confronted my uncle and told him, what is it that you want that my mom is hindering you from taking it? At this moment, if you tell me whatever my mom is hindering you, her presence here is hindering you from doing something, we will tell her to go away. Just like shoot your shot, like say whatever you want, and this woman right here is hindering you from taking it. Just say it. And he didn't say anything, and the next day, before we knew it, my mom was being called to the sub-chief's office, and some elders were there. Obviously they were paid to be there, and my mom was being accused of doing what? Of abusing my uncle's wife. So I told my mother, this time around I'm going with you to that sub-chief's or whatever's office. My mom said, no, you can't go. I told her, I am going, and you are not, I'm not ready to be convinced otherwise. So we went, and upon arrival, the elders looked at me like, what's she doing here? I was like, yo, I'm here, I've brought my mom, so yes, let's talk, let's like square this out once and for all. Like I was ready to do anything for my mom. And so they talked the allegations, and I was like, yo, I get your point, I get it. So what if she goes, and what next? After she's gone, what next? Will you feed us, the 5 of us? Will you pay for our school fees? Will you fight for us? Will you protect us? Will you cover us? And the sub-chief was like, kwa mtoto mdogo hufai. I'm like, no, I'm talking because I know the oppression we are going through and the pain that we are facing each and every time since my dad died. Wow. It was heavy. And yeah, we came back, and at least it stopped. At this point, remember our second born had already finished Form 4, and he said he's not staying in that environment. He came to Nairobi to hustle. Of course, he was only 19 by then. He came to hustle, and it wasn't easy on him at that time, but somewhere God opened ways. And yeah, and when I remember our elder brother spent like 4 months in community prison for the sin he didn't commit, my uncle's wife accused him of beating her. That time they're accusing my brother of beating her, My brother was busy doing his own work in the compound, so the woman just shouted, because they were fond of like saying bad things to us in a loud voice, like they were just shouting. So I guess my brother was like, what have you done this time around that you are shouting at us? And the woman then started shouting, and he called the husband. The husband called the vigilance, and they beat my brother and they took him to the police station. The next thing before we know it, he was taken to Kakamega. The next thing before we know it, they told my brother to accept. There's someone who approached my brother behind my mom's back and told him to accept that he did it and they will leave him. My brother, being so naive, being so confused, he didn't know what to do. He accepted, and the court of law sentenced him to 4 months imprisonment at committee. And before we know it, the next day my brother was traveling to Nairobi with the police at committee, and and before we know it, we are there without our elder brother. And this is when God came into the picture, because we said we cannot fight people who are using their resources to manipulate us, who are using their resources to make us go through so much pain and so much sorrow. So Mom introduced us to prayers, and at this point, I didn't know how to pray. My sister didn't know how to pray, but we were just going to church and see how people pray. And in the process, we learned how to pray. The only prayer I could say was, Our Father who art in heaven. That's the only prayer I knew. But now here Mom was introducing us to another norm, because we couldn't have won this fight if it wasn't for God. So when we were praying, when we used to pray each and every day, God came through. And because we were in the same compound with my uncle, and it was like they needed this shamba so much, so the only way for them to get that shamba is when we move out, or when my mother goes back to their home, and maybe they chase us away. I don't know how they could have managed to do that, but God opened a way, and Mom had still kept some money that dad had, and my brother was hustling in Nairobi. And one day Mom received this call from my brother saying, how big do you want your house to be? And how many iron sheets do you want to use? And since we were staying in my dad had a permanent house, and I was like, okay, now we want to go back to another. We want like to start building. Is this house going to be the same as this one? Ama we are going to hizi nyumba za matope za kupoma, because even I didn't know how to poma a house. My mom said, okay, I need a bigger house where I can accommodate visitors, where I can accommodate the men of God. Like, I need my foundation, my house to be laid on God's foundation. My brother said, okay, how many iron sheets? My mother said, blah blah blah. And so the construction began. My brother told my mother, look for a contractor who will lay the foundation, because they wanted it to come from down. Yes, that house took like, wow, I finished Form 4 in 2014. That house ilianzwa 2015 March, I guess. Yes, 2015 March. And in December, we hold a very big ceremony. We invited the men of God from Bungoma, from different parts of the county, and they came. They dedicated our house to God, and yes, That's where our peace began, in 2015. Remember, my dad died in 2010. So all these tears, all this pain, all this oppression, we went through such thing for like 4 good years, because we moved to our house to another shamba in 2015 December. Yes. So why have I narrated that story? I haven't even touched about our school, a journey. I haven't even touched about, yes. So we moved into that house, and that's when we saw peace. I haven't even talked about how we missed a meal or 2 meals, and we could just go with 1 meal a day, but that's a story for another day. When I'll be talking about my high school journey, I'll probably touch the hunger journey. Yes. So that's when we saw God. And remember, my brother wasn't like Ati. He was working with, and he was being paid 100,000 a month. No, it took the hand of God to bring that house, like to bring that house to the picture, to make the completion of that house a success. Yes, and so I'm here to say, because I know so many people are going through such things in their families, and they don't know where to start from. They don't know what to do. So here is my advice to you. My mom took us to Christ. My mom introduced us to God. My mom taught us how to pray. And there is this inner peace that comes when you know the God, our Father in heaven, will never forsake you. He will never leave you, and He will provide for you. He will protect you. Like anytime we missed a meal, we knew we are not going to miss the next meal. He is going to provide for us. Yeah. So anyone going through such family nonsense, anyone going through so much pain, grief, anger, just take it to Christ. Take it to Christ. He will deliver you. He will see you through. He will comfort you. He will make a way. When you know it's impossible, He knows it is possible. Yeah, it is very, very possible. And yeah, you don't need to be advised otherwise. This far I've come, it has taken His hand. Like Dad left us when I was in class 8, even I hadn't even started for my exams, but here I am. I finished high school, I finished campus. Yeah, here I am, I'm hustling. And if it wasn't for God, I wouldn't be here, trust you me. But it takes a hand of God to do miraculous things you never thought you could have. It takes God to show you the reason behind each and everything He does in your life. I beat myself so up when Dad died. I accused God. I was so, like, I don't know, I was so annoyed. I felt like God had forsaken us, like He let this happen and He could have controlled it. And it took me like 9 years to mourn my dad. But when last year came, I saw the reason behind each and everything, because I really hadn't found a reason why my dad had to leave such a young family. My mom was only 38. I didn't understand why he had to go. And so I felt like I needed more answers from God. I came to get those answers last year when I really asked God why. And He gave me the reason, yes. So anyone who is going through a tough time in life, anyone who is being oppressed, anyone who is facing any kind of challenges, sorry for that. I just want to clear up my face and to come here and tell you that whatever you're going through, wherever situation you think it's difficult, go to his feet, seek Christ, seek and you shall find, ask and you shall be given. Like, yeah, that's how hard it was, that's how heavy it was, that's how mad I was. But right now, if I can talk about my dad and cry a little bit but continue with the story, I thank God, because I remember I could have started the conversation, then I just break from nowhere, just break. But I'm so proud that this far I can talk about him. Yes, I still cry a little bit, but I will definitely continue with whatever I was saying. So yeah, thank you so much for being here. I didn't mean for this to be an emotional ride, but it only happened that it had to be that way. Thank you so much for keeping it here, and thank you so much for being part of my family. Kindly keep subscribing, keep liking, keep sharing, and keep passing. I love you people. Thank you so much. Pass this message on to the person you think needs it most, because we are here to help each other grow in one way or the other. Till next time, keep it here. Bye.